For centuries, humanity has wrestled with one of the strangest questions imaginable. What if the Earth wasn't round, but flat? Imagine standing at the edge of the world, gazing into an endless abyss. Would gravity even work the same way? Would our vast oceans stay in place? Could day and night possibly exist as we know them? Now, let me ask you, if you lived in that world, would you dare to venture to the edge? Let me know in the comments below. It's a thought that challenges everything we understand about our home. If Earth were truly flat, the very laws of physics would need a complete rewrite. Right now, on our spherical planet, gravity pulls everything toward the center of mass, the core. This is why our oceans curve gracefully around the globe, why the atmosphere wraps us in a protective blanket, and why you can stand upright whether you're in New York or in New Zealand. But on a flat Earth, gravity would be a nightmare. Instead of pulling everything uniformly downward, it would drag everything toward the center of the flat disk. Picture this: the further you moved from the center, the more you'd feel a sideways pull. Trees would grow at an angle, leaning inward. Rivers would curve unnaturally toward the middle. Simply walking near the edges of this world would feel like climbing an impossibly steep, invisible hill. Now, let's talk about the oceans. On a globe, they're held in place by the consistent pull of gravity toward the core, but on a flat Earth, the water would simply slide off the edges into space unless something was holding it back. Proponents of this idea often imagine a colossal ice wall surrounding the disk, a gigantic version of Antarctica acting as a planetary retaining wall. But even if a wall could hold the water in, what about our air? Our precious atmosphere exists because Earth's spherical shape and gravity create a stable envelope of breathable air. On a flat plane, what would stop the air itself from spilling out into the cold, empty vacuum of space? We'd lose not just our oxygen, but also our shield against deadly cosmic radiation. Life would be snuffed out in an instant, and what about the most fundamental rhythm of our lives, day and night? On our round, rotating Earth, sunlight illuminates different parts of the planet as it spins, giving us the beautiful cycle of sunrise and sunset. For a flat Earth to have day and night, the sun would have to behave in a very peculiar way. It couldn't be millions of miles away. Instead, it would need to be a much smaller, closer object, circling like a spotlight above the flat surface. But think about the consequences. If the sun were that close, it would look enormous in the sky. The regions directly beneath it would be scorched to a crisp, while the areas further away would be plunged into a permanent, frozen twilight. The concept of seasons, which are caused by the tilt of our spherical Earth as it orbits the sun, would vanish completely. The world would be a patchwork of extreme heat and extreme cold, with very little habitable land in between. Let's consider modern technology. Our world runs on satellites. GPS, weather forecasts, global communication, and even your internet connection rely on objects orbiting a spherical Earth. If Earth were flat, orbital mechanics wouldn't work. Satellites couldn't circle a flat disk. They would either fly off into space or crash back down. That means no more Google Maps to guide you, no accurate weather predictions, and no way to call someone on the other side of the world. Our interconnected, digital society would collapse. Navigation and travel would also be turned on their heads. When you see a flight path on a map, it often looks like a long, strange curve. That's because airplanes fly the shortest possible route over a curved surface, a straight line, on a globe. On a flat Earth, these routes would make no sense at all. Flights that we know are routine, like from South America to Australia, would become impossibly long journeys across the entire disk. In reality, the flight paths taken by thousands of planes every single day are direct, undeniable proof of a round Earth. But let's get back to gravity, because it's the most bizarre part of this whole thought experiment. If the Earth were a flat disk, the constant sideways pull toward the center would have catastrophic effects over time. All the water, all the air, and even loose soil and rocks would slowly, but surely migrate toward the middle. Mountains on the outer edges would crumble and slide inward. Rivers would stop flowing outward toward the rim. Ecosystems would be torn apart as the very ground beneath them shifted. Eventually, civilization would be forced to crowd into a small, central region, leaving the outer lands as barren, desolate wastelands where the gravitational pull is too strong and angled to sustain life. Humanity would be trapped in a cosmic bullseye. And what about our view of the cosmos? When we look up at the stars from our round Earth, we see that the constellations shift as we travel north or south. Someone in Australia sees a completely different set of stars, like the Southern Cross, that someone in Canada can never see. This is only possible on a sphere. If the Earth were flat, everyone, no matter where they stood, would see the exact same star-filled sky. The fact that they don't is one of the oldest and simplest proofs that our world is a globe. Still, let's push our imagination one last time. What if humans somehow adapted to this bizarre, flat world? Our maps would be completely different, showing a central landmass surrounded by a terrifying, unknown edge. Exploration wouldn't be about discovering new continents, but about risking a fall into the abyss. Myths and legends would dominate society, with entire cultures potentially worshipping the Great Ice Wall that they believe holds their world together. The very concept of outer space might not even exist, because launching a rocket into a stable orbit would be physically impossible. In the end, the idea of a flat Earth isn't just scientifically impossible, it describes a world where life itself would be fragile, unstable, and perpetually on the brink of collapse. Our existence depends on the elegant, predictable physics of a round, spinning planet. Our round Earth isn't just a shape. It's the very reason we can live, breathe, and thrive. So, what if Earth were truly flat? Gravity would be a mess, the oceans would spill away, our technology would fail, and life as we know it would simply cease to be. Thanks for joining us on this journey beyond the limits of logic.